I see you're back and thirsty for more, and I appreciate that. Thanks for joining me. Today I am starting doing some gas piping. So as I mentioned before, the gas line was already in, and I've already put in these two pieces here. Next I got to get this more or less squared off and get a hole drilled. We're gonna be going through the wall. So once I get my whole system in, I'll show you my plan that I drew up and all the numbers and everything that we ran to figure out what sizing I need for the lengths and for how many BTUs each appliance will take. So once I get all this hooked up, the inspector will come out, and in this hole here I will have a gauge and pressurize the system, and it's got to hold that, I believe, for a couple hours. I'll probably leave it for a whole day before they come out. And after that they'll put a green tag on it, and then the natural gas company can come back out and actually mount their meter right here. So yeah, let's get going. So before I'm ready to set that pipe through the wall there, I need to get my block up. And I went ahead on the back of this block and found the center of it. So I'll get the drill, knock this hole out, and then I'll just slip it on for now, and then later I'll come back and put flashing on it and get it nailed off. As you can see, this is still flexible. It can go wherever it needs to get it leveled off. I'm gonna do this part later, just because I want this to be, once I get it secured inside, it'll be a lot stronger. So I decided to add this for some point if we get like a gas powered generator or something, just as a kind of a backup if the power goes out. You can pull the cap off, open the valve, and connect to the generator, and then we can have some power to run refrigerator, the heat, or something along those lines. So yeah, that's what that's for. It's extra, but I decided to add it. So next we will be moving on to the inside, which is here. So I gotta still need to tighten this one up yet, and then work my way up and across over down to the mechanical room. I got the clamp on there, and basically just like a copper one, just twist, tighten until it cuts. So here we go. Let me remind you guys, I am by no means a plumber or anything like that. Just kind of figuring it out, learning as I go. I've threaded pipe before, but that was on a motorized version. I'm doing it by hand because that's all that I could get my hands on. I knew you needed some kind of cutting oil. I didn't have anything, so I just used what I had laying around because I didn't want to run to town. But then I ended up having to go to town anyway and get some more fittings for the gas pipe, and the guy recommended this stuff. You can see right here, get the angle right, I guess the lighting right, made in Germany, and boy, does this stuff work wonders. It is amazing. Feels like cuts way better, the cuts come out cleaner, and much faster. So got this strapped down here, and here's the 1.5 inch NPT thread for the black that I'm using, and you could see the cutting heads in here. So for those who've never seen this or never done this, each one of these dies, it starts out wider and then they get more and more in line, or tighter and tighter as you go, basically. So once you start cutting the pipe on the very edge, it starts out wide, and then the further you get into the die, it actually gets to the actual thickness or the actual size that you need. So you run it forward for a while, and then you run it back to break off all the chips that are building up. So gonna show you here real quick with this oil, and it's just an aerosol can. So get it nice and oiled. Put my gloves on. So next you got, this slides in most of the way onto the pipe itself. And after that, apply some pressure and you get going. And just like that, we are started. You could see in here, maybe I guess if the lighting was better, you could see the metal starting to come up in like pigtails, like curlicues. So I will run this for a minute, going forward. And then I will run it back the other way to break off those pieces inside. And then as I get ready to continue forward again, I will give it a few sprays of this lubricating cutting oil. So when you go backwards in reverse, this is the stuff you're breaking off. Sorry, it's a little blurry, but it's just a buildup of metal that the blades are shaving off. So you want to break it off every now and then so it's not getting in the way, and it's easier to keep the blade going that way. All right, so as we continue with the gas piping here, my neighbor across the way there that is also building, he's about in the same phase of construction as I am, and he was over here watching me hand thread this gas line. He's like, oh, it looks miserable. So he went and bought an electric threader, and he so kindly let me use it. So I'll show you kind of how that works. I think it was bought it at Harbor Freight, but hey, it gets the job done. So we're all lined up, everything looks like it's ready to go. You clamp this into place so it holds onto the pipe, so this doesn't, with the torque, it doesn't jerk around in your hand. So I'm gonna lube up the pipe a little bit to start. Get it in place, make sure I'm going in the right direction. Apply pressure to the dies here again, and here we go. Even though the instructions say you don't have to break the chips off like this, but I still do. Just, it makes sense to break them, so I do. Run it in reverse for a minute and then ready to go forward again. And there you have it. So much quicker. So much quicker. This is nice. The thing is, that threader, they only goes up to 1.25 inches, and most of my main trunk for the gas line was 1.5 inches, so that wouldn't have worked for me anyway. So I would have to do the big pipes by hand either way. But at least for this smaller stuff, it works good. So thanks, neighbor. I ended up getting one of these chain wrenches. It's basically like a strap wrench, but it's got the chain on it. It's a lot more heavy duty. And I'll show you what kind of applications you could use it in. Situation like this where you got your pipe. This one isn't that bad because you still have enough room to get your pipe wrench back there and to twist up to tighten it. But say this was much closer and you didn't have the room in the back to get that in there, you would feed the strap wrench, the chain part through, hook it on, try to lock the chain in as tight as you can, and then as you hold it, it has those teeth. I'll show you. Has these teeth here that'll dig into the pipe and help you turn it. So it's very handy, especially in tight spaces where you can't get back behind with the traditional pipe wrench. So pretty awesome, worth the money for sure. Running from here up to the main line coming in, getting kind of lazy, and I don't want to run solid pipe, so I'm trying out this flex stuff. See how that goes. It's definitely a lot more expensive, but it's, you know, flexible, so it makes it a little bit easier. This here is the Gas-Tite brand, and I know somebody else makes it in yellow, but these guys specifically make it in black. And this is 1/2 inch pipe, and I have this cutter, which basically has just razor blades on the inside, and then you line up the piece, kind of put some pressure on it, and just twist a few times around. Okay, and then it just cuts the perfect depth you need, and then you just work the trim piece off. So next, here is the fitting that goes onto it, and it goes, this end goes on there, so you can pull that apart. Let me set this pipe down. So this comes apart, and inside it has these are basically the jaws that lock on. So with this specific brand, what they want to see, one ring exposed, as you can see right where I got it clamped in there. Hopefully this will focus so you can see it. And then the second one goes on. Oh, whoops, I forgot to put this one on. So first you got to put this one on, and then you put on the actual jaws, I guess you could call it, that clamp on. And then it'll slide right in. Come on. Just like that. And then you just tighten this up, and it sets it in place, and you're set to go. So, and I'm gonna mount this piece onto my fitting down there first, because it makes it much easier. Because once you tighten this, and you can't, it doesn't, you know, pivot freely on its own. It moves as a unit after this gets secured. So I want to put this piece on first, and then I'll put these on. So one thing I forgot to mention about this, you can cut it with just a regular pipe cutter. You just want to go nice and slow. You don't want to go too hard, because you can, you know, push this in and kink it fairly easily. So you want to make sure you got a nice sharp blade on your pipe cutter, and just nice and slow, and it'll get there. And as my old coworker used to say, just tighten it until it cracks, and then back it off a quarter turn. So there you have it. It is in place, and that is all finished up. So that is the last of my gas piping. I'll show you this box out here, what it looks like on the outside. This is the outside of that box. You've got a shut-off valve up here and a quick connect for whatever you need, whether it's a barbecue or a heater of some sort, or I don't know, whatever you need that runs off of natural gas. And the nice thing is, once this is on, you can't disconnect it. You got to make sure that it's off before it'll let you disconnect. So it's a neat little safety feature there. The other big safety feature, I think, is this door. It's actually a locking door, and if you need, you can even have the door closed and locked, and through this little access down here, you can have, you know, the hose coming out and running to whatever appliance. If not, well, just close the whole thing, and yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool, pretty nice feature to have. Keep it, you know, away from the kids and all. So this is Gas Plug brand, whoever makes that. Bought off Amazon for like $100. I think it's a pretty sweet deal. So all right, so I cleaned off an area on here on my messy table to show you guys this. So this here is my design for my gas lines. There's a few things you're definitely going to need to know before you can draw this up. So you're going to need to know all your appliances. Like I got the stovetop, the boiler, furnace. I did a barbecue for the patio and a patio heater. And then at some point somebody wanted a natural gas dryer. I figured I'd go that route. And you need to know the maximum BTUs on each one of those appliances. So I'm not going to go super in depth onto all of this because there are much better videos and much better explanations online out there than I think I would be capable of doing. So I'm not even going to waste my time or your time to do that. But I'm just going to give you the general idea of what you need. So you want to walk through and just try to visualize the best possible route for running your gas lines. So here I got drawn, here's my meter, and then it's coming inside my wall, goes up 10 feet, and then over 10 feet, and then over another 35 feet, and then I got branches off, and I've labeled all my appliances. Like this is labeled F, comes up here to the dryer, and so on and so forth. So yeah, all my points are labeled on which appliance is what, and the CFH next to them. So for example, our longest run from the meter to, I believe, E, which is a patio heater, is 102 feet. So, and that's a total of 430 CFH with all these other appliances. Since this is at the end of the line, you have to take into account all of them. So we come over here to this chart, which I found online, and it's actually from California Plumbing Code. So looking here, we need length in feet. So we were 102 feet. So we come down here, there's 100, but since we're over the 100, we have to go to the next size, so it's 125. Okay, so we got our feet, and the next is 430 BTU. So same thing, we're coming over across, we got 355 and then 532. Since there's nothing in between, we have to go with the higher number, which is the 532, and then we follow that up, and that tells us that we need 1.5 inches main line. So basically you start from the longest point and you work your way back to figure out what size you need. Like this is 1/2 inch, 3/4, 3/4, and then this is 1 inch, and so on and so forth. So yeah, if you guys have questions, there are some very helpful videos online on how to figure out your gas plumbing. Okay, so it's definitely been a while since I've worked on my gas piping. I took a break to pour my garage slab, work on some electrical, work on some plumbing, and now I just gotta get back into this and finish it up because I'm tired of it lingering over me. So my problem is I have a tiny leak somewhere. I'm losing about a pound a day or two ish, I'd say. So I went ahead and bought some of this leak detector, and I'm gonna try using this to see if I can find it. Earlier I was losing quite a bit and I found the leak, and I have a video that I'll throw in and show you that. But in the hard to reach places, I think I'm gonna get a squirt bottle and use this stuff and just kind of spray it in there. But in all the open joints like this, I'll just use this. It's got a cotton ball on the end, and you just run it along, and once you find the leak, it'll start bubbling. So I'm gonna get going here and see if I can find where this leak is and get it taken care of. I found where my gas leak is at, right at this T. So I'm gonna have to take quite a bit of this back apart to get this fixed, which kind of sucks, but what are you gonna do? Important thing is I found where it's at and I can get it taken care of. So I'm gonna start taking this apart and see if I can get it fixed. All right, so I'm getting sick and tired of this gas stuff. As you can see, we're sitting at 9 pounds. Yesterday I was at 20 pounds. So the meter, or my gauge, used to be out on my meter outside, but it kept telling me that there's a leak. So numerous times I'd come through here and test all my joints with leak detector with some soapy bubbles and whatnot, trying to find where it's leaking at, and I could never find anything. So I went and asked my neighbor for a fresh set of eyes, had him come over and do the same thing. He looked over everything, he's like, nope, I don't see any leaks here. So we decided then to move this gauge in here and put the shutoff is here because this is where my boiler is going to end up being anyway. But we decided to put the gauge here, fill the system with 20 pounds, and then shut it off. So coming back today, I see that we're lower, we're at 9 pounds, so that's telling me that there's a leak somewhere between here and here if I open the valve up and the pressure goes back up. So we're actually going to do that right now, see what happens. Oh, there you go. As you saw, the pressure just went back up to 20. So perfect. That does tell me there's a leak somewhere in here and that the rest of the system is fine. So I'm going to go ahead and give the gas company a call, have them come out here and get all this gas stuff finished up.